Very good.
Smile.
Me? No, I don't want to be in a movie. I don't have.
I don't either, but
Yeah.
it doesn't
That's
matter.
okay. Oh.
About me blowing my nose.
All right.
There's a lady, I could tell you this. There's a lady in the rehab therapy thing, and she and I have the same birthday. We're both May 8th, both born on Mother's Day. And she will be 80, and she said to me, I don't know if you'll be around, but she knows I'll be 92. There are some really funny people out there. There's one lady
So
that...
tell me something about your life. Something
mine.
about when you were growing up. Something about when you were young.
Oh, I was born in the Children's Hospital in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lived... My dad was in the service.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was a Red Cross nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved to Southern California, lived at Fort MacArthur in San Pedro. And I went to the Sheridan School. No, not the Sheridan School. Anyway, it was a public school. And I was supposed to ride the bus, but I usually walked. And then we moved back to San Francisco. Lived in the Presidio.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went on the boat and the train. No, streetcar, the boat, the train to Berkeley, to the academy.
Every day? How long did it take you?
Huh?
How long did it take you to do that?
Well, at least a half hour on the boat.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a long trip. We went down Market Street at the very end there, where the clock tower is, and caught the boat. Went across the bay and took a streetcar to Berkeley and went to the academy there. And let's see.
How old were you when you met Elder Smith?
How old?
Mm-hmm.
I was, when I met him, I was 18.
Was he in the academy too?
Well, he came there in the fall,
Mm-hmm.
and all the girls were going after him.
Did you go after him or did he come after you?
Neither one. We didn't have anything to do with each other.
How did it happen?
Well, in chemistry class, he was across from me doing experiments, and a girl and I were doing some together on our side. And this girl was wild about him. And I didn't like him because he was always making things that blew up. But anyway, I had a party at my house one time. And my dad was a Pinkerton detective. He was out of the service then. And he worked at the Sunshine Biscuit Company in San Francisco, and he'd bring all these fancy cookies home. So we had a table full of fancy cookies. And so we decided to have the party. And the kids came, and it was one of those progressive parties where you had to go out and find this and find that and bring it back. We stole a slow sign. That's a no-no. And we had to find, I don't know who made up this list, had to find an empty sloe gin bottle. And so George emptied it.
It was full. So you drank a bottle of gin?
He went to the liquor store and bought it.
Oh.
And emptied it. And
Make him drunk?
yes, but he got real silly. Yeah, I shouldn't be putting this on here, Dave. Nobody but you sees this. Anyway, his brothers took him home. But he just sat there and laughed and giggled and laughed. Everything was funny to him. Oh, dear.
That's when you thought you liked him after that?
Well, the way we got together was we had a party at the school, and my boyfriend of too long standing came over from San Francisco, and George was living with a family that had a boy and a girl that they'd known each other in Texas. He didn't like that girl, and she couldn't keep her hands off of him. And so he was running around in the rooms at the school trying to get away from her, and I was trying to get away from Charles, who I didn't want to see. And so we bumped into each other, and he says, "Do you have a partner?" I said, "No, do you?" So we became partners.
That's at the party?
Yeah. And I don't know what happened to Charles and Marta, but they were out of the picture.
And then on.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause it.
No other daddy ever did anything like that.
So when you started going together, you were 18? He was 18 too?
He was 19 and I was 18 when we got married, so probably I was 17 when I met him. And are we back on?
Him?
Oh.
Was it love at first sight?
No.
No,
No.
it wasn't. You didn't like
It was a matter of convenience.
Oh.
But we got friendly, and one day we had a day when you could either go to school or take the day off. I don't know why. Maybe it was a teacher's
Conference.
I don't know what it was. So we walked up to Berkeley, to the campus of UC Berkeley, and sat down on the grass. And he told me all about his life in Texas, and I told him about my life. And from then on, we were partners.
So was that during your senior year or freshman?
Hmm?
Was that during your senior year or junior year? When was that?
Yeah, that was early in our senior year.
So by the time your senior year ended, you were married?
10 days after we graduated,
Wow.
we married. But we only went together 5 months. But, we were very mature.
So you thought.
We knew what we wanted.
So you thought.
And we were saving our money. We were not going to tell anybody until the right time
To get married or you were engaged?
to get married.
Oh, okay.
So that was a mistake because my mother and my sister and I went to camp meeting, and our principal was in charge of the little grocery store at camp meeting up at Lodi. And he said, "Well, congratulations, Mrs. Morgan." She thought he meant because I graduated. And he said, "No, because she's getting married." Packed her groceries and ran out of the store to find me. And we never could convince her that George was coming up that night to tell them what we were planning. She never believed it.
Thought they were going to run away?
No, she just thought we were going to sneak it. Yeah, I guess so. So anyway.
That's funny.
Oh my. And then that ended camp meeting for her. She went home. We all went home. And she told my dad, and I don't know whether he cared one way or the other. He was kind of passive.
Your mother wanted you to be single longer?
She wanted me to go to college like my sister did.
Oh, okay.
But I was not a college person. At least not then. Maybe I would have been later, but I wasn't then.
Why were you not a college person?
I wasn't interested.
Oh, okay.
I just,
Didn't want to be a teacher or a nurse or anything?
no, I was just through with school.
You just wanted to be a housewife.
I don't know if I even wanted that. Anyway, that's
Did
how.
did he have to talk very long to get you to agree to get married?
Hmm?
Did he have to talk very long to agree to get you to say, okay, I'll marry you?
No.
You were ready, huh?
Yes.
Interesting.
We were driving one night down to the church on a Friday night. They always had Friday night young people's meeting. And after it was over, he was going to take me home, and he did a U-turn down the street there. And he said, "Honey, will you marry me?" And I said, "Yes," right
Just
on
like that,
So that was it. And when we found our apartment and paid the utilities and everything, we had just maybe less than $1 left over.
Wow.
That's the way you did things in those days.
What was he doing for work?
Oh, yeah, he was working with his dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had a secure job. And downtown, once a year, they had big sales. Like, I thought I'd surprise him, so I took his check and spent every bit of it downtown. You could ride downtown free on the streetcar that day. I bought a toaster, the kind that the sides go down, and and for 50 cents. I mean, these were new things.
Wow.
I bought, he needed clothes, and so I bought him pajamas and underwear and socks and shirts and everything. I don't remember if I bought myself anything, but I spent the whole check, and when he came home, he was about to pass out to think his whole check had been spent. We hadn't even paid the rent. But, oh well, he was working for his dad, so.
You got a loan from his dad?
His dad wasn't very generous with the money, but somehow we managed.
Were George's brothers here in the same area, or they were back in Texas?
George?
His brothers, were they there in California, or were they in Texas?
He stayed in California.
Mm-hmm.
He was the youngest paint contractor in the whole state.
Mm-hmm.
Took the test.
But his brothers were where then?
His brothers?
Marvin's father, where were they?
Yeah, Marvin and Charlie and Rob. Rob was just a little kid. He was 10 years younger than George. But George and Marvin and Charlie all stayed out in California. They drove out first. Then the folks came out and set up their business, and the boys worked with their dad. The thing I didn't like was they gave their money to their dad. They didn't really have much of an income, So it was kind of a funny situation. I didn't like it.
So did you go on a honeymoon when you got married?
No,
You didn't go to a honeymoon?
we didn't even have a car. We used one of the Smith cars. They had several cars because they brought cars out from Texas and sold them. But one year at New Year's, we went up to visit our principal and his wife. Our principal had tried to keep George and me apart because he felt we were moving a little too fast, And so he had George up on the red carpet several times. But anyway, we liked them, and we went up to see them New Year's Eve, and it was Mr. Baldwin, and he had a little 32 Ford, I think it was, and we bought it from him for $99. We should have kept that thing. That was a treasure. But anyway, it got us around. Otherwise, we took the streetcar, you know.
When was it you got married? What year?
39.
1939.
Same year I graduated from academy.
Oh.
And Kathy was born in 40.
I gotta change tape.